millions of dollars, countless victims, our investigation has found that, according to Canada's financial watchdog FinTrack, crypto ATMs are the #1 way that fraudsters are getting money out of their victims. Some have shared stories about how they got scammed and the devastating impact.
And it ended up where I had lost $12,000. And I just felt, it was just like somebody had come in the house and just taken things from me.
The urgency was put on me to really put more money in the bank and put more money in the account. And so emotionally, it was quite damaging for a while.
While it's clear crypto ATMs are being used for fraudulent purposes, what's less clear is the scope in numbers. Stats from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre don't always include police reports. The RCMP confirmed to us it's not formally pulled any trends related to crypto ATMs. Ontario Provincial Police told us they're not actively tracking the data.
But really what we're doing is we're mapping those cryptocurrency addresses with scams and fraud in order to understand the illicit volumes.
Blockchain analysis firm TRM Labs tracked around $160,000 in illicit activity involving crypto ATMs, but they say that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Numbers are likely, again, significantly higher, potentially 85% higher than what we're seeing.
And yet, here in Canada, beyond the rules that all money services businesses have to follow, there are no regulations specific to crypto ATMs.
Australian authorities are intervening.
That's not the case elsewhere. Australia's financial regulator launched a task force after suspecting many people using crypto ATMs were fraud victims.
Some of the police were able to go out, meet these customers and actually test whether or not, our suspicions about the risks of them being victims of crime were actually true. And unfortunately, a very large percentage of those customers, over 80% of the people they visited, they confirmed were victims of fraud or scams.
As a result, Australia introduced big changes, including a $5,000 daily transaction limit.
Hopefully governments, both here and overseas, can somehow regulate some lawful use of them or just remove them altogether.
The UK effectively banned these machines in 2021. It introduced a licensing system, but since then has licensed no crypto ATM companies. New Zealand plans to ban them. South of the border, New York State has effectively banned the machines. Half of the 50 US states have proposed crypto ATM-specific regulations like daily transaction limits on machines, caps on transaction fees, and even requiring that companies refund fraud victims. California was among the first to introduce legislation to regulate crypto ATMs.
I would say simply common sense measures such as the $1,000 daily limit and the disclosures that we require. These are things that any jurisdiction could potentially require.
In other words, the roadmap to try and curb this type of fraud is there. Yet in Canada, no regulations specific to these machines. Some who worked in the crypto ATM business and those who've fallen victim to fraudsters say that needs to change.
But I would like to see changes in Canada regarding these machines.
Some going as far as to question why Canada allows them.
The easiest way to fix this problem, to my personal opinion, would just be eliminate them.
Do I think that we need them? No, but it's not my decision.
That decision would be made by Canada's finance minister. We asked for an interview, but were told he was too busy. So we caught up to him on Parliament Hill.
Your government has no regulations specific to these machines. Why is that?
Which machine, just so that?
Cryptocurrency ATMs.
Listen, we're looking very much at all the matters that would strengthen our laws in Canada and our regulation. We've been bringing to the G7 even a whole stream of work around financial crimes, because we know that those who would be trying to circumvent the rules are not just doing that in Canada, but they're usually organized around other countries as well. So that's what we're doing for now.
You mentioned the G7 countries. Other countries have banned these machines. Why is the government not taking any more?
Like I said, we're looking at that, learning from each other, because it's not one item you need to look at, but the whole ecosystem.
The Department of Finance told us in part, quote, "The government continues to work closely with federal and provincial regulators to assess these risks and evaluate measures that can be considered to mitigate them without unduly limiting innovative opportunities," adding, "Our partners at FINTRAC continue to collect and distribute actionable intelligence and intelligence briefs to better combat fraud and complex money laundering operations." The hope by some that patchwork of data on crypto ATM fraud can become more fulsome to paint a clearer picture of Canada's fraud problem in its entirety.
If we were able to show our government and our courts that, Canadians lost $20 billion to fraudsters last year, $20 billion of Canadian citizens' money left the country.
Through our investigation, we found that crypto ATMs are feeding Canada's fraud problem. We've spoken to victims about how they've been scammed, to law enforcement about the efforts they've taken to try and crack down on it, and the significant steps that other countries have taken to regulate these machines. And yet here in Canada, it doesn't appear there are any plans in the works to specifically regulate crypto ATMs. And with that, law enforcement says they're not focusing on education, trying to get the word out that no government authority or official will ever contact you asking for money to be sent through a crypto ATM. And if they do, it's likely a scam. And this is a problem that is not going away. In its report, FINTRAC found that crypto ATMs will continue to be the primary tool that domestic and international fraudsters use to get money from their victims.